Okay. Well, hi, everybody. This is TempleOS. So, it was last worked on in 2018 by a man named Terry Davis, who passed away. But he built this great system. He described it as a modern day Commodore 64,
Network.
and he was like saying that it's a playground.
I
It's
don't think I
made
have a
its
wireless
purpose
connection. I
is
don't have a
the
wired connection here
playground
anyway. I
for
think I have a dongle, but there's an
sorry.
outlet here, but I thought it was
And,
dead.
and Neil, we can still hear you.
Oh, I didn't know if there's a question or something.
Yeah, sorry, Neil, we can still hear you. It's okay, no worries. Thanks.
Oh yeah. I was just saying that he described it as like a playground for programmers. So it's just like a cool place to code stuff. I have a few projects on this computer that I've been working on. So here's a game that we built. Well, actually, let me show some of the games that come with the system rather than showing off the stuff that I've built. So I'm just navigating here through the menus, and here's a game. It's called Rocket Science.
Austin, by all means, feel free to also show stuff that you've been working on. I'd certainly love to see it, as well as the demos.
So this is like a game that like simulates firing rockets. It comes with a lot of different games, so we can, I don't know if any, Castle Frankenstein is kind of like, this is like a kind of Doom clone, I guess. It's running a little fast because I'm using a hypervisor, but you can move around and shoot these guys. I think I died there. I'm really bad at the games. But it's a x86 sorry x86 64-bit CPU. It can do multi-core, but it's not very common. Basically everything is done under this Atom task. And you can at any time press F1 and view more system information. It shows some other, so let me show some of the stuff I was building in here. So I've been implementing some math libraries. So like here's a vector. This is all, here's a vector coded in the language. It's called HolyC. Instead of, it's like an alternative to C. And it has, it is imperative, but it has some object-oriented paradigms. So here I'm using a class to represent vectors, and I'm building so I can build a matrix. I include the vector, and then I build a matrix, and using that matrix, I can paint graphics on the screen. So here's the game. You play Jesus. So you're Jesus, and you have to ride your skateboard and collect pizzas. So you press yes, and then here you can ride up, and you have to jump and collect pizzas. It's just this fun game that I made for the Ludum Dare project. But this is an awesome system. It's all ring zero. Everything is ring zero. So there's no protection modes. There's no permissions or anything like that. Basically, it just gives you full control to do whatever you want, and it's a lot of fun to play around with. I'll answer any questions if anybody has, but that's basically just a quick rundown. called.
Well, if there's no permissions, then how then anybody can edit anybody else's program? Is that true?
Network tonight.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody.
Well, I have a question.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. It's man, I actually been wanting to check this out a little bit more in detail. But I've had a lot of stuff on the go the past little bit. So now
Yeah,
that I've
sorry about
settled
the
down-
network stuff. I don't know what's going on tonight exactly.
That's okay. No worries. But yeah, for programming in TempleOS, like, does having a healthy knowledge of math stuff like help? Like, can you do can you still make a decent game or something like that without a lot of math, background? Even if you have like a little bit of math background, would you still be able to make like a sort of decent game with this, or would it help to have like above 10 grade 10 or more to know like algorithms and stuff, and to be able to create workable games in TempleOS?
That's a very good question. So you don't need a lot of math knowledge. So here's a really simple game that was made by Terry Davis. It's called Elephant Walk,
Nice.
and it's very simple. There's no main functions. It just is. You just call it. So it's all real time. I'm sorry. It's all just in time. It's just in time compiled. So everything is just run, like even in the kernel, you could type code right here and it'll read, it'll compile. But yeah, this is a really simple code. All it does is this is this game loop right here. While true, DC fill paints the screen, and then get key receives the keyboard input. And it's really easy to draw like this. It has a built-in sprite editor, so you don't
Cool.
need to like plot sprites like with Commodores and stuff. You just it has like it's like a paint. It's like a version of Windows Paint, but it's
Nice.
very simple. So if I just press F5, this is a very simple game. I'm just moving the elephant, and then you saw it was like 30 lines. And it's completely open source. The OS is completely open source. So if there's anything you want to dive into deeper, there's nothing that's proprietary.
Okay, good to know. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Austin. Did you want to show us some of your compositions on here? I'd be really interested in seeing them.
Well, yeah, I did make that Jesus game. I have some other games, but I don't think I think I have it on another computer here. I don't know. I think I've glitched it and the elephant won't come off the screen.
That's
But,
okay.
Um,
So sorry I didn't hear you earlier. The connection
So-
where I'm at is dodgy as well. So
the TempleOS runs best on like the ThinkPad. If you're going to boot it on physical machine, it runs best on the T400 series of ThinkPads.
oh cool,
Or
nice.
really any machine that was built in the early 2000s.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
I can boot and show some. One of the other things I've built on here is actually just a way to migrate images from Windows. So if you're running in a hypervisor, you can load disks, they're ISOC files. It's just a TempleOS version of an ISO file.
Mhm.
It uses the ISO 966 6.0 IBM standard. And basically, I have it on GitHub somewhere, but all that does is it lets you make disks on Windows for, so if you want to like, if you have a drawing that you want to bring into TempleOS or something,
Mhm.
that's some of the stuff I've worked on. But you could do, I mean, people have done lots of amazing things, and I wish I was more prepared to show it off, but
That's okay. No worries. That Jesus game was hilarious. And I love it, by the way. It's great. Thank you for doing that and showing. It was amazing. I look forward to trying it out. Is TempleOS available for Linux in Linux downloads?
so you can run it on Linux with a hypervisor. You can use VMware or VirtualBox or QEMU. It runs really good with QEMU, or you can, a friend of mine, Enroot, this is his username or alias, Enroot. He made a Linux compiler called 3 Days,
Nice.
and that you can compile on Linux HolyC code.
Nice. Thank you.
That's HolyC doesn't use, that just reminds me, it doesn't use ASCII. It uses its own format called
Okay.
Red C.
Oh, wow. Interesting. I'd have to learn C first before I could do any of that, I guess.
Hey, Austin, you just run your own programs, right? You don't, but you can't edit another other people's programs, right? Is that correct?
So there is no networking in TempleOS. So you can edit other people's program. Like if I send you the ISO file, I can send you the disk. Every TempleOS distribution, it's about 2 megabytes. It contains a recursive script called do distro that compiles a unique distribution of your machine and onto an ISO file. So you distribute software by basically sending the entire operating system.
Oh, okay.
Neat. It would take me a little bit to compile what you just said there.
It's like, he designed it in a way to be, he said it's not supposed to be like the main operating system on your computer. You're supposed to run it as like a hypervisor or secondary operating system.
Right. Okay. That's awesome. Thank you. So there was a QEMU, and what was the other hypervisor you were talking about, please?
VMware, but I think you might have to pay for that.
Well, yeah. Well, there's VMware. There's the open source one. What was it called again? The open source one. I have it, but anyways. So I know that one. And I haven't played with EXSI yet. EXSI was another hypervisor I was trying to play with, but hadn't had much success lately, but it's a work in progress. So QEMU, and then was in the one that your buddy made with Red C. What was that one called again, please?
It's called 3 Days.
3 Days.
Yeah.
Were you able to type that into the chat, please? I'd like to see how it's
Oh,
spelled.
yeah.
Hey, Annika, I think you can use VirtualBox too. That's free.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
think that's the one I was talking about, the Oracle VirtualBox. Thank you. Yeah, I have
Yeah,
that one.
VirtualBox, however, it's not, it doesn't simulate audio. TempleOS uses
Okay.
a single audio channel. If you are using QEMU, if you just set the audio channel to the public address, it'll work. But for some reason, VirtualBox doesn't work with the audio.
Good to know, thanks. And how do you spell QEMU again, please?
QEMU. It's an open source hypervisor. Hypervisor software. Yep. Oh, here I have I don't need to
Thank
share
you.
my screen for this, but I have this is another app I made. It was a 3D version of Solomon's Temple. And here
Oh,
it is. I'm running
sweet.
on the ThinkPad, and I don't know if you can hear the audio even, but it has a single channel audio, and it's like a
I can hear the
3D
audio.
temple.
Yeah. That's amazing. And Solomon's Temple, eh? And you run that in TempleOS? Is that correct?
Yeah, this is in TempleOS. So it's just like a 3D game world. There's no like objective, but it's just like a random building, and you can walk around, go
Cool.
inside.
So it's like a rogue, almost like a roguelike without
Really
the
glitchy.
monsters, right? You can okay. So it's almost like a
Just use a-
metaverse in a way.
It just uses it's just a raycaster.
You built that one too, Austin, or was that
Yeah, correct. Yeah, well, a lot of the source code
Nice.
is from Terry Davis
Yeah.
himself. So
that's awesome.